Welcome guys to another chess analysis. Now today I'm bringing you a game from the infamous Hans Niemann. As you probably know, he was involved in a lot of scandals regarding certain cheating devices, let's put it that way. But regardless, some of his games are pretty damn interesting. So today we'll be taking a look at a very instructive one he played 2 years ago against a Turkish prodigy, Ken Durak, who was only 13 years old at the time, but already a very strong player. Now, for some reason, I haven't seen these games covered anywhere. I really don't understand why. But yeah, let's just take a look. Hans Niemann had the white pieces, and he started things off with d4. Now, Ken replied with d5, and after c4 we arrive at the queen's gambit. Now, for those of you who are new to chess, the queen's gambit is actually one of the most solid openings in chess, even though white is sacrificing a pawn only in move 2. However, if black dares to take this pawn, usually white can play e4 or e3 and not only win the center but eventually win his pawn back. So even though taking this pawn is completely playable as black, more often than not black usually doesn't take it and play something like c6 or even e6, which is what happens in the game. Durak goes for the queen's gambit decline, and Niemann just continues development. We have knight to c3, knight to f6, knight to f3, after bishop to e7, Hans really wants to get his white square bishop out and play something like e3, but first he doesn't want to lock his bishop out of the game, so instead he plays bishop f4, black castles, and now indeed we have e3. Now Durak isn't just going to stand around, and he plays b6, perhaps looking to also strike with c5, also flanking his bishop, and well, here it's completely fine for Hans to play something like bishop d3, bishop e2, then castles. However, for example, if bishop e3, black is just going to take a pawn and force this bishop to move again, and actually, technically, white is losing a move. Again, this is completely playable, but Hans decides to not go into this, and first he goes for some trades in the center. We have c takes on d5, and after knight takes on d5, some more trades occur, because we have knight takes, and after queen takes, if we take a look, this pawn on c7 actually is hanging, right? Well, not so fast. Usually it's not that simple, because this position is still complete theory. It has been reached thousands of times by super grandmasters, and yeah, if white is to take this pawn, he isn't losing, but it's quite scary, because there's something like queen to a5, checking the king. White can't really block with the queen, otherwise just bishop b4 and he's kind of in trouble, right? He's losing the queen and most likely the game. So instead you'd have to play something like knight d7 blocking, but now after bishop to b7, your bishop is kind of timed out to defending this pawn. This bishop is also going to put some pressure on the knight, eventually this rook is going to come, and I mean, it's just a very active position for black. So instead, Niemann avoids all of this, and instead of taking the pawn, he just calmly plays a3. And now, by removing all of these bishop to b4 ideas, maybe he's kind of already threatening to win this pawn. So to address this, black just plays c5 and uses this pawn to strike at white's strong center. Now white takes, we have d takes on c5, and black retakes with the queen and avoids this queen trade. Now since the queen is on the open c file, this is the perfect moment to play rook c1, just developing the rook, eating the queen. And now we have that queen to a5 check, however now it really isn't that strong, because after queen to d2, there's no longer that bishop to b4 idea. So Durak just goes for a queen trade, and the hand simply retakes with the knight. So far everything is pretty much equal, but yeah, we are slowly but surely going towards an endgame. Now Durak continues with bishop to f6, improves his bishop, puts it on this very nice diagonal, targeting this sort of weak b2 pawn, and hence just improves his knight and defends this pawn. We have knight to c4. Now Durak continues normal development, we have knight to d7, perhaps eyeballing this very nice c5 post, but Hans just says no, he plays b4 and prevents this idea. Now black goes for bishop to a6, perhaps looking to trade these white square bishops or even this knight, because this knight can be very useful for white. And Hans goes into this, he plays knight to e6, and indeed we have a trade of bishops. We have bishop takes on f1, king takes on f1, and now Durak plays a5, looking to undermine this pawn that's defending this very useful, or at least it seems, c5 squared, right? And Hans locks things up, we have b5, and Dirac doesn't even think twice and just plays knight to c5, thinking he's putting his knight on an amazing post. But Hans might have a little bit to say on that, because after king to e2, Black continues with normal moves. We have rook f to d8, sorry. And here, Niemann actually played just an amazing move that, well, it's when you see it for the first time, it completely looks like an engine move. But once you start making sense of the position, it all clears up. And yeah, it's just a very, very amazing and very instructive move that his cousin AlphaZero really approves of. So yeah, if you feel like, just pause the video and try to find a plan for white, because yeah, this is just a really nice position. So yeah, hope you found it, because the only winning move here for white is actually this very nice rook takes on c5. Like, this is just amazing, because after pawn takes on c5, white's main idea is basically to get this pawn off the board and try to make a queen. And funnily enough, these rooks are kind of powerless, because you know, the rook is just gonna get behind the pawn, and in conjunction with the knight and the horse, like, these rooks really can't do anything. It's amazing. And yeah, first of all, black is kind of threatening to play e5 here and cut the communication between the bishop and the knight and just pick up the knight. So let's first address that. Hans plays knight to c4. Also, perhaps is looking to reinforce the b6 square for the pawn to push. And yeah, seeing this plan, Dirac played e5 anyway, because after knight takes, and bishop takes, he has removed the knight. That would help. I mean, sure, he lost a pawn, but maybe the defense will be easier. Let's take a look. He played rook to a7, because now after b6, he can play rook to b7 and sort of set up a blockade here. However, Niemann here plays bishop to c7, attacking this rook, and the rook really doesn't have a lot of moves, right? There's really no point in standing around in the 8 rank. He's not really doing anything here. So he tries getting active with rook to d5, but this doesn't really help, because even though Niemann is on material, he voluntarily tries trading rooks. And I mean, often this is not the case in endgames, this is not what you should do, but here it works to perfection. Because after this rook trade, Niemann is just gonna activate his king, try to target this rook and just make a queen, right? Just a completely simple plan, and black is completely powerless, because okay, he recognizes this idea, he starts bringing his own king, however it's too late, because yeah, the kings just both approach. However, after black's king reaches the c6 square, Niemann just plays a4, completely locks things up. And now just take a look at the black's rook. Black's rook is like it's just completely paralyzed, like it cannot go anywhere, it's completely stuck. And yeah, this is just basically a Zugzwang, you know, black can't really make a move. He tries going f5, trying to hold something on the king side. However, after f3, he just resigned, because he has nothing to do. I mean, he cannot move his rook. Everywhere he goes, he's just dying. And even if he sacrifices for the bishop, the pawn just takes, and the king is just taking this pawn, and he's just winning. And if he tries, I don't know, creating something here on the king side, white is just gonna push his pawns, and yeah, he's just gonna win the game, because eventually this pawn is gonna deflect the attention of the king, and white's king is just gonna get in, and yeah, this is just complete destruction. And yeah, all of this because of this move back here with the knight to c5. This looks like a very nice post. However, there's this you know, just brilliant positional sacrifice that Niemann easily found. So yeah, this just goes to show how strong Hans really is. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video and perhaps learned a thing or two. This positional sacrifice was, in my opinion, pretty amazing. And yeah, let's just hope this guy is completely legit, because if he is, we can all agree that he's an amazing player. I mean, getting called a cheater by Magnus and not being a cheater is just like the biggest flex you can possibly have. But yeah, that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, see ya.